Well, we're back with another fantastic interview on Backstage with Randy Phillips. I am Randy Phillips, and my guest and my friend is Chonda Pierce. Chonda, an Emmy-nominated best-selling comedian who has been on circuit perfecting her craft for decades. Have you been to a Chonda Pierce show? Why not? If she's close to you, go see her. She is hilarious. And yes, you're going to hear some funny stories, but also you're going to hear some honest reflection on how she's dealt with hardship in her life through humor. Undoubtedly, that is something we can all relate to. But before we begin, you know what time it is. It's time for you to follow, review, and subscribe to the show if you haven't already. Your feedback helps us to craft the show and get the message out to more people. Hey, we might even read your review live on the show. So go ahead, leave us a 5-star review. That's all the kind we want. We thank you in advance for your support. So now, are you ready? Let's go backstage with the country comic, Chonda Pierce. Randy Phillips, and you're backstage with Randy Phillips. That's me, and I'm joined by the stand-up Christian comedian of all time, my favorite human being, Chonda Pierce.
Randy, am I the one because everybody else is dead? No, I'm just, no. They're not dead, But
you are
here forever.
I love you. I have been in love with you forever.
I know.
My group started just nearly when your career started, 30 plus
How come
years?
your career took off faster than mine?
Oh, it hasn't.
It took a long time to get to your status.
Chonda, you've been a TV host, an actor, author, singer, writer, stand-up comedian.
Can't keep a job.
You can't keep it. But let me tell you something. You're in Austin, Texas tonight.
Yes.
You've been doing this 30 years. You sold out my church.
I did. I sold out a lot of churches.
After 30 years to keep doing that.
I keep asking the Lord. This is the funniest thing. First line out of my mouth most lately is, stop buying tickets. I'm trying to retire. And they just laugh like I'm joking. I'm like, I'm not joking.
I'm serious.
I want to retire. You know, how do you retire? And now I said that. I put that on Facebook, and James Robinson called me on my cell phone, which that sounds like the voice of God.
He does.
And said, Chonda, go in there, delete that off your page right now. There's no retirement in the kingdom of God. And I said, no, but there's really tired in the kingdom of God.
Retired.
Yeah. I don't know. I always told the Lord, let me go home. This is a Phillips Craig and Dean song. When my words are few, let me go home. Because my words have not been few since the day I was born.
You look fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you for wearing the subtle colors that we asked you to wear on the podcast.
Exactly. Well, I'm in here in the groom room. I feel a little nervous.
And the shoes.
I got shoes to match.
Love that. All right. When did you know you were funny? Like, I'm funny.
I don't know. Sometimes I still wonder. That is the most, I know, but that's the most insecure thing of a comic is, was that funny? Was that funny? It's when you can make your mama laugh and to forget she's going to beat you, that's a plus.
I never had that. But I was,
because you never got a beating.
No, I got a beating.
Okay, good.
Every Tuesday.
Yeah. Oh my God. Whether you needed it or not. Yeah. That sounds like my dad.
Yeah.
We I just finished a book called Life is Funny Until It's Not, and there's a whole lot of the not in there. And when you finish, and you've done this, when you finish your book and you get it in the mail and you read it again, you just want to see the words on the page or whatever. And I read it and I went, my life is awful.
Oh.
But if you pick up a lot of comics books, their lives are awful. A lot of comedians come from dark places. And I look back at that and I go, I don't know how did I become funny? And I know that some of it was a deflection at first. And same thing in my childhood. It was always, let's get on the coffee table and tap dance to make the room laugh.
Yeah.
So that we do forget what's really going on in the room. You know, we really do forget the tough stuff that's going on. And I think I was always there to try to make my mother laugh because she was having such a hard life. Oh. And I love that. And she did. And she always laughed. She always thought I was funny. Now, she knew I was completely inappropriate most often. Still am.
Yeah, that's good. That's why we love you.
That's why you love me.
That's why we love you.
I read that book. You know, there's a couple of points I made because for one thing, you know, let me interview you. Do y'all still work, Phillips?
We do.
Oh, you do? Well, then never mind. You didn't retire either.
No.
Oh, my Lord. Is that allowed in this world?
I don't know.
I think the Lord's doing a new thing. Maybe that's what's stirring in my spirit.
Yeah.
Is time for switching up or a change or something like that. I don't know.
So you knew you were funny when you could make your mom laugh, but what was the tipping point where you said, I think I could have a career in this?
Well,
do you remember that moment or moments?
I do remember. Yeah, I do. I remember I got a job at a theme park in Nashville. You remember Opryland?
Of course.
Yeah, and I auditioned, and I got put in the show that gave the history of country music. And interestingly enough, I didn't know how to dance because I grew up in a holiness church, and that'll send you straight to hell.
Of course.
And so, and they were shocked that I didn't know how to dance. I got hair in my face, ADD, squirrel. So this is true. So since I didn't know how to dance, they were like, what do we do with her? And they gave me the part of Minnie Pearl so I could impersonate Minnie Pearl while the big dance number's going on. And that's when I kind of really fell in love with comedy. I never thought about it. I mean, I looking back, I realized I would sneak and watch every Carol Burnett episode. We weren't allowed to watch much television, but I would watch Carol Burnett, Red Skelton. Yes. I loved Red Skelton. This is really aging me, but
that's all right.
But I would watch those shows. I remember as a theater arts major, I was always auditioning for the funny roles instead of the beauty queen parts, And so looking back, it was, humor was always an interest to me. And because it is a great healing tool.
It sure is.
It's a great deflecting tool. It's a great healing tool. And it's funny. It's so providential of God, I think. I got a job at a theme park where 5 times a day, 6 days a week, had to make a group of people laugh to get a paycheck. And it was at a time in my life when I was a very lost young woman, mad at life, mad at God. Lost both my sisters, and my parents had divorced, which is confusing when you're raised in the holiness world.
I know.
And I think, what a God we have.
Isn't God good?
Because the laughter was just as much medicine for me, even though I was the one trying to make people laugh. Hearing them laugh and seeing people's faces delighted.
Well, what is that moment? You're a comedian, you're looking at people, you're saying something that takes them, they probably drove in, they've been getting ready for this moment a good while, they spent the money, they got some sadness going on at the house.
That's how it is now.
And then they come to you, they're prepared for you to take them somewhere. That's a credible responsibility.
Yes, if you think of it like that. Thanks for bringing it up. I'm going to be very depressed for the show tonight. No, I don't know.
No,
why
you do it so well. You just do it naturally. What is it about it? Because when we're singing, I love to see people worshiping. And they worship.
My mother would love for people to do that while I'm worshiping.
Yes, but you're making them. What is that? An intoxicating thing to just hear laughter.
It is. And early on, I praise the Lord for, I hit the wall running. I got really depressed about 15 years into my job. And a lot of it was just burnout. Yeah. That, and they said I had started menopause, but I slapped the doctor for that. How ridiculous. Yeah. But yeah, I hit the wall running, and God works all things for good. And the good that came up from that was some tools in place to fight the burnout and the depression and the being careful about my job. I think what happens, not just to comedians, but a lot of artists, you get addicted to how that feels on stage.
Yeah, it is addicting.
And you have to remember constantly, that's my job.
Yes.
That's not my life.
Right.
And in remembering that. And yes, we're blessed because we are born again Christians.
Yes.
We can get ministry out of our jobs.
Yes.
We shine our light for Jesus. But for all comics, even the mainstream comics, the singing artists out there, when you see their life falling apart, I think it's because they got addicted to feeling God-like on that stage and having people in the palm of your hand. And you want that feeling when you go home. So they turn to all the wrong things to feel good about themselves again. And the good thing is we who are grounded in our faith in Jesus, we know that that's our job, that's a ministry. But when I go home, I am not godlike. I am not divine. We know ourselves, and we know we wouldn't be here without Jesus. So that kind of keeps our jobs in a little bit of perspective. Yeah, and so you don't fall apart when the clapping's not there, and you don't fall apart when the laughter's not there. But I had to learn that sometimes the hard way, and I still have to learn it the hard way.
I've been on stage all my life.
Right.
My dad, my mom,
pastors. I remember your dad.
I was playing the drums, singing, all that. Then Phillips Craig and Dean, and then pastoring, preaching every Sunday. So I'm up on the stage.
Yes.
When the pandemic came.
Whoa, that's hard, isn't it?
No stage.
Right.
And I lost myself.
Did you really?
Yeah.
You should have called me. I would have told you where you were.
Well, I felt purposeless.
I know. Wow, that's so honest of you.
My identity was in those stages.
Yes.
And when I had no stage.
Yes.
Did you experience when the world just stopped? You didn't.
And that was just because I'd already dealt with that kind of thing. Now, I got lonely.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But my identity it's so funny you said that, because during the pandemic, people go, the left wings are going to fuss, but they don't watch this, I'm sure. But during the pandemic, I had a couple of comics that, that we keep up with each other and how we're doing, and no one was doing very well.
No.
Emotionally and all that, and financially, I don't have hit songs on the radio, Randy. If I don't talk, I don't get paid. So that was a worrisome thing for a lot of the comics. And I invited them out to my farm. I have a farm called the Funny Farm.
I love that.
And I have cabins that pastors come and stay in that
I
are
love
in
that.
crisis.
Oh.
You should have come there. I'd have found found your identity somewhere.
I couldn't get on a plane. There were no planes.
I know. But they all came out to the farm. There's about 40 of us. Oh. And so we had some praise and worship, and we just had some devotional time. My brother brought a great talk about finding your identity, but we opened the mic for people to just try out their bits and all, but it wound up being like group session. If you're in a meeting in the hospital, I've had a lot of group, and it wound up being group, and people just went around and told about where they are, and that was the theme was. I realized that my identity is too much into what I do. Completely. And that's hard. What's hard for me is, my manager, I have a wonderful manager, great Jewish guy. Most people in comedy are Jewish. Isn't that weird? But it is, I tell you why it's weird, because here's a group of people that came from the worst, painful thing in the whole planet, the Holocaust. And most of them emerge and become comedians and managers of comedians and producers of comedians. Yeah. I know, it's really wild. It is. But all that to say, my manager is always like trying to get me to write more, to do this, podcasting, all that stuff. My problem is when I go home, I shut the door, I turn all this off. Right. I don't want anybody to find me if I keep the gate locked. You know what I mean? It's like, and I'm learning from talking to people like you, that's a real blessing to be able to turn it off. Such a blessing. But then you drag yourself to the bus to have to go to work again. I hate that part. So when you're ending up in a different city on this tour, so this is kind of behind the scenes. You get on the bus, and there's that getting out of your house, and then you go. Yeah. Do you do well on the bus? I do. I have, as you well know, being on the road, it takes you a long time to get a circle of people that it's just right. Right. Chemistry. And this last 10 years of my career, it's been just right. Oh, perfect. Great people. I've got a girl that opens for me, Karen Williams. Yes. Who is a wonderful singer. but just fun. She's just a delight. You don't have to entertain her. She's not a diva.
Yeah.
It's like having a daughter or a little sister on the bus. And then Rebecca, who does all the ticketing stuff.
Yeah.
And then Kevin Stevens.
Yeah, I love Kevin.
I've been with him, man, off and on 17 years.
My goodness.
And his wife, Amy, and their 4 kids. And I saw them in the Christmas party, and I was like, thank you. I know it's got to be hard. But he's done this for 40 years, probably, with different groups. But it's a gift when you finally get surrounded by the right people, the right personalities, the ones that'll let you sleep in, and then the ones that'll make you get up. You need to get out of this room. Things like that. Yeah.
So you're in Austin as we're recording this. You're in Austin tonight. Tomorrow night you'll be
outside of Dallas.
Outside of Dallas.
Richardson.
So how do you do you have a routine that you like? I need to keep this routine no matter what city I'm in next.
And I keep the same routine at home.
Okay.
I kind of keep the same hours at home. Many years ago, one of my counselors, and I've had many, one of my therapists wrote me a prescription, and I thought, not another drug. I mean, I love my drugs. I always tell people I'm highly depressed. I'm professionally depressed. I'm clinically depressed. Not right now. I'm highly medicated, but and I always say Jesus brought me here with 150 milligrams of Fexer. That was the gift He gave me to come out here. And I praise the Lord for how God heals, and He heals in a myriad of ways. But one of my counselors one day, she gave me a prescription and tore it off and handed it to me, and it just said nap. And I was like, what? She says, I'm going to give you permission
to nap
every day. And so at 3:00, sometimes I sleep, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'll play Candy Crush, But it's 3:00 every day. I shut the world out.
Okay.
Get my head, in order. 4:00 I take a shower, and then there's meet and greet and time to go.
So did this podcast mess up your?
Oh yes, it did. I'll probably be in a heap in a corner eating dog food after this because he missed me.
Okay, so
I don't go to bed till 2:00 in the morning.
2 a.m.
2 a.m. But I don't get up till 10:30, 11.
Okay.
Yeah.
You sleep well on the bus?
Thanks to my friend Trazodone.
Okay.
It's a wonderful sleep med.
Okay.
But its side effect component is helps depression. So that helps.
Depression.
Yeah.
Okay. Now on your bus, which I saw tonight, beautiful.
Oh dear Lord.
Is it still the same thing as when I was on the bus? You can do you can go to the bathroom and do certain things, but
on
not
one
other
bathroom
things.
you can only do number 1. But now,
what?
Now on our bathroom you can do both.
No way.
Yeah, that's how
When
the
did
world
they
has
fix
changed.
that?
Randy, you gotta get out there in the modern world. We can even have Wi-Fi.
Okay, I knew that.
We have
but
Wi-Fi and grinders is what they call it. That's so gross, isn't it? And you're not supposed to dump on the side of the road, but once in a while you think they did.
I think that.
So there is DNA from every Christian artist in the world is on the side of the highway.
It's a slick.
Oh!
All right.
Oh.
Can you
this
be...
is such a classy podcast to be a part of.
Very much. We're taking it up.
Yeah, we really.
Can you be alone and not lonely?
Yes, and you can be in a great big crowd and be horribly lonely.
I've been in one.
Yep.
So how do you, Chonda Pierce, you lost your incredible husband, sisters...
Parents, everybody.
Parents.
I moved. When David died, I buried him on the farm because we were in the middle of trying to build a house, and we had the spot cleared and all that stuff, and he died. And I had a hole for the septic tank, so I thought, let's just put him there because I'm frugal. That's a joke, but I did bury him on the farm.
Oh,
and
dear Lord.
A few years later, when Mother died, we buried her with my sisters in a cemetery. But when Mother's husband died, there was no room for him in the cemetery. And and the guy at the funeral home said, just find a family that won't mind taking Papa. And we're like, we can just stick Papa with somebody. And so I said, he's supposed to be with Mama because they stack you up now on the ground. And he said, we dug up there, but that's not your Mama. And I'm like, oh, that's right, because I moved the stones around to make it look symmetrical and pretty. And so they couldn't find where Mama is because they thought that, but it was my sisters. And then my brother goes, you can't bury him with our sisters. They don't even know Papa. And because, this is second husband. And so anyway, it was such a dilemma that I said, let's just move them all to the farm. And so 4 bodies on a flatbed went through town. And I tried to get my son to stop at McDonald's and order 4 cheeseburgers, but he wouldn't do it. But we drove them right through town on a flatbed and buried them all out the farm. It was so hysterical.
I told you.
It was funny. Look, this is true. It was funny until it's not. And I sat on a bench and I thought, okay, here's my whole family. And now every time I think the Lord might come, like I was so sad he didn't come during the eclipse.
I preached that he would.
I was hoping.
He didn't.
I was so sad. And I didn't even buy the glasses because I thought, ruin my eyes.
Who cares? I have new eyes.
And I sat in that cemetery with my lipstick in my hand waiting.
Ready.
Because the dead in Christ rises first.
You gotta look good.
I want to look good and see my man.
Yes, right.
But it is hard. All of them are there. You know,
you can be.
I don't date. I don't. Yeah.
You can be alone.
Yeah.
You have embraced aloneness.
Yeah.
And not
pretty
alone.
good.
Okay.
Pretty good. I probably am better alone than I am in a big crowd.
Really?
Yeah, because in a big crowd, it's obvious you're alone. When I'm alone, I don't have to tell anybody. Couldn't get a date tonight, so it's just me in the hot tub at home.
I would think you would have fellas lined up at the bus.
You think?
Well, I'll find 2 or 3 in the church.
Can I tell you the truth?
Yeah.
I thought that too. I mean, I didn't think they'd be lined up, but I thought, I might go out on a date.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing. I tried the online date. I don't get a poke, a swish, a wink, a wave. I don't get, my phone does not ring. That's what they do on online dating. You know, you do a poke and there's a thumbs up or something. It's awful. It's awful.
Well, I've got a couple of fellas in the church.
Well, send them on. Well,
I send their picture to you?
Yeah.
What are you looking for? What's your profile?
They need to know how to do a backhoe. Bush hog. Can they bush hog?
Okay,
bush hog. They can bush hog on a Kubota tractor. Okay. That's it. That's all it.
What do they need to look like?
Well, at least have some teeth.
All of them?
I'm not picky.
Okay.
At this age, you can't be too picky. Look, here's why I don't date. The men my age, Randy, your wife needs to know this because if you drop dead, she needs to know these things.
Okay.
The men my age are looking for a woman, true story, about 20, 25 years younger.
I know.
So that means there's a 90-year-old man out there that thinks I'm hot. But if he's near death, I've dealt with death. Yeah. I can take him till he dies.
Okay.
He's got to leave everything to me, though. But here's the thing, too. I am 64 years old.
I'm 62.
I have a farm I love.
Yes.
I have a life I love. Men our age, they have their life. Yeah. They've an established life. So it would take a very special individual to want to drop himself into my world. And I don't know that and this is honest, I don't know, this is probably why nobody calls, because I say these things on your podcast. I don't know that I'm ready to drop myself into someone else's world.
I know.
31 years, look, I loved a man with all my heart, cooked for him, cleaned his clothes. I'm kind of done.
Yeah, finished.
I put my time in.
Okay, right. I've got a couple of fellas in mind. Let me see.
Oh, dear Lord, have mercy. I was at your church when it was at the high school.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I do.
And it wasn't long after David's death.
Is that right?
Yeah, there was a guy that did security for you I thought was cute. I remembered him. He might be dead now.
I think he's dead.
I knew it. That might be another reason my phone doesn't ring. Everybody in my life is dead. What's that tell?
Let me look on the security team and see. Okay.
That is so funny.
Who makes you like contemporary comedians now?
That make me laugh?
Yeah, who makes you laugh?
Are we allowed to say?
Yes.
Dave Chappelle.
Not the one.
Dave Chappelle.
Oh, yeah, Dave.
He is the GOAT. Now.
Why?
I don't recommend him to church people.
I know, but why? I've seen some of his stuff, and I
he makes a point.
Okay.
I love.
So there's a point to his comedy.
Yes, and I love that. I love people that use this craft.
Yeah.
For a good purpose, okay. And he does. He makes a point. He ain't woke.
No.
And he will never be woke. And I kind of love that about him. Too. And he went through it, not being woke. So I like him. There is another guy named Eddie Izzard who's an executive transvestite. These are the ones that aren't Christians that I think are funny. These are the ones I wish knew Jesus so that I could meet with them in heaven sometime. Now, I love Billy Crystal, and we share the same manager, so that's kind of cool.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
I don't
cool.
know him, like, personally or whatever, but I made a fool of myself meeting him because I was like, that one thing.
I know.
I'm sure he's never heard that before.
I do that with Amy Grant. Every time I like, you idiot.
You know, it's kind of the same way for me,
get
too.
all flustered
I've tried. I want to be one of her friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I even was stupid enough to say, I'd love to be one of your friends. And I'm sure she's like,
no.
Never. I see her at events, and she will remember my name most of the time, but most of the time.
Yeah.
I think now she just remembers, that's the girl I need to stay away from.
Stay with her stalker.
And then there are some, I don't need to know them.
Yeah, I hear you.
Is that discouraging? You've been at this a long time.
No, not at all.
When you meet Christian artists who are not so Christian.
Oh.
I'm sure people say that about me too. I met her, she wasn't so Christian.
No. Early on,
it was
as
hard.
a younger man, I was more naive, and that would throw me.
Yeah.
But now.
Isn't it interesting because there are circles, boy, this book, you got to read my book.
I can't wait.
Oh, gosh, it just came out, so I'll get you a copy.
What's it called?
Life is Funny Until It's Not.
Oh.
It's on #1 on Amazon right now. Number 1, 2, and 3 on Amazon.
Well, after this podcast, it's going to go to
jump through the roof.
Because I have 85 followers.
1,000 followers.
No, 85.
No, you don't know that. See, that's what's deceiving. Because it will keep going and keep going. You don't know how many times it passes on to people.
That's true.
That's true.
So what is the emphasis for the book? I know you're...
My host, I've got it all out there, Pastor. I just got it all out there. And now I'm going to tear up because you always make me cry.
Oh.
I look back at the people that believed in me, even when I didn't believe in myself, and I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to talk about for every trauma in your life, and I have been sadly aware of many.
Oh.
My father was not a good man.
Oh.
And I don't remember a church he ever pastored that he didn't have a girlfriend. Oh. So my trust in men and my trust in Christians, really, to tell you the truth, was very flawed. So all that to say, when you grow up like that, that lends itself for a young girl to get herself into big trouble, all through college. And my joke is always, I got saved 345 times.
Me too.
I got baptized a couple of times in, high school, a few times in college. It's none of your business. But as much as we laugh, we all preachers' kids know that's true, But all that to say, I've been through the traumas of life. I've lost a sister by a car accident. I've lost one with leukemia. I've sat by my husband dying, my mother dying, all these things. But the in between those traumas, there is such growth sometimes or not. You go through them the right way or you go through them the wrong way, and I decided to share both. My husband, when he was alive, he was an English professor and a writing instructor, and this is the first book I've ever written without him. But he used to say to his students all the time, show, don't tell. And I decided that's what I would do. And I showed. And I think when someone closes this book, they'll go, wow, if I ever go through this is how I'll try to face it. Or this is where I won't face it. But I was sexually assaulted in 2019. On a date. Well, it wasn't really a date. I met someone to eat, and then there was a man across the way that followed me home.
What?
Yeah, it's a long story. You'll just have to buy the book.
I will.
But all that to say, so as far as what a woman can go through, I had a cancer scare a long time ago, but a lot of women go through that, whether breast cancer or a mammogram comes back bad. All that to say, I have seen God in action in the tough places.
You sure have.
He has been so faithful. I wished I had learned of his love as a kid instead of thinking he was waiting to pound me. And that's kind of what happens when you grow up in legalism a little bit.
Yes.
I never knew the unconditional love of a father until I went through some stuff.
Oh, Chonda.
And it's true. There is the unconditional love of a heavenly Father. It's beautiful and it's wonderful, and that's what keeps you laughing and smiling. I don't try to be funny all the time. And when I'm having a down day, I'm honest about it. Because the joy of the Lord is my strength. Because in my own, I have no strength. On my own, I have no righteousness. And so to fall in love with Jesus in that way and know that he loves you in that way was a game changer. And I didn't know that about him till a few years ago. Oh. You know what I mean? You can have a journey with the Lord. Yeah.
I'm a preacher's kid. My parents modeled what they...
I know. That makes me sick.
I know. And I just like, when I hear things like that from you, and you have a father up there preaching and living...
And I walked in on him a few times. Or he would take me with him to his liaisons. You know? Yeah.
How have you continued to have faith? I don't even know.
It's a journey. It's not like, but I just paid no attention to it. I went through, I think that one of my things I discovered in this huge bout of depression that I had many years ago was I had stuffed so much and stored away so much that in its time, the Lord allowed that scab fall off, and we need to embrace some of these things as you're strong enough to do it. And I always tell women, your body will react to your trauma whether you cooperate or not. It'll either show up in addiction or promiscuity. It'll show up in obesity. So the best thing to do is to deal with it be cooperating with your brain, and go get some help and find Christian counseling. Someone that knows the Word of God and can help you seek God in these traumas. If you don't have a God-based, faithful counseling, you'll fall into the trap of crystals and kind of stuff. And I've seen people
Chonda,
fall into all that.
I am so sorry what
you've
been through.
And
I am.
That's
and
what
I'm
I
so
wanted
proud.
Yeah, and I just
proud
want,
of
I
you.
hope, I don't want anybody to think, oh, so sad. No, I guess this is my mother in me. There is always someone in your life worse off. Don't ever think that what you're going through is, one, that'll isolate you real quick to think you're the only one that's ever felt this way. There is no emotion, there is no reaction, nothing that is so new and foreign to God or to the world. What's so sad? You could turn on the television and know that you're not alone in your pain. So don't isolate yourself and think that God doesn't know it.
I admire you so much. I do.
Thank you.
I know some of this. I didn't know
you did.
to the extent of it.
Yeah, it's weird.
I remember one time you called me Mr. Perfect.
Oh, yeah.
Because you were talking about somebody in rehab. I'm like, what?
Yes.
Why would they do that? And you said, Mr. Perfect.
This is the truth. I want to write a book. My brother is let me just say, I do have a brother, and he's a PhD. You need to have him speak at your church.
I will.
He's brilliant, but he's one of the number one sought after counselors for sex addiction.
Wow.
Our childhood manifests itself in my life in depression. It manifests itself in his life in addiction. But God delivered him, brought him through it.
There are miracles.
We opened a counseling center. We see about 3,000 or 4,000 people a month.
A month?
We do $3 million worth of counseling, and most of that is we don't turn anybody away from money.
What?
Yeah, this is amazing. Branches Counseling Center. You need to look
Can people donate to it?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'll take that check today before we leave.
I'm going to write you one. So what is it called?
Branches Counseling Center.
Branches Counseling Center.
The main one is in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We have a weight loss program.
And that's yours?
Well, I'm
yours and your brother.
The founder. Yeah, one of the founders. I'm also a patient. So. And I don't even get my counseling for free.
Oh.
But he says he's going to write a book someday that says, I don't trust anybody that doesn't walk with a limp.
I've preached that.
Oh, he probably stole it from me.
He stole that from me.
But
never trust a man that doesn't walk with a limp.
Those are the people who have wrestled it out with the Lord.
And they're changed.
And changed.
And walk differently.
Yeah.
Love that. So a year from now when we get back together.
I hope I'll be off my honeymoon.
What are we going to be celebrating?
Again.
What are we going to...
That I had said sex a lot. Let's say sex 3 more times on your podcast, and your ratings will go up.
What are we going to be celebrating a year from now, me and you?
Oh, me and you will be on the streets of gold, I hope.
We'll be dead?
No, yes, we'll be in heaven. I'm
Yet.
ready. I have to be careful saying that because my shrink will call. But that's right. I want to be doing a new thing. I don't know what it is.
All right.
I want to park the bus a while.
Well, I want to find you wherever you are.
Well, I wish you would.
Okay.
You've had my phone number for 30 years. You hardly use it.
I'm sorry.
I know. I don't call you either. I have yours. So.
Well, thank you for doing this podcast. And to all of you, I know you've enjoyed this. I sure have. Get the book. The book, one more time.
Life is funny until it's not.
Oh,
I'm going to go get you a copy right now. Oh,
Life
I have
is
people.
funny.
I'll have them bring me
Life
one.
is funny until it's not. And your counseling service, one more time.
Branches Counseling Center. Yeah, go to branchescounselingcenter.com.
Okay. If you can donate, do that because it will.
Oh, that's awful sweet.
It will. You're investing in somebody's soul, and so Chonda Pierce, thank you for being on the podcast, and you were a delight. I can't wait to see you tonight.
I love y'all. I love this church. But Pastor Randy, I have called you sometimes when I've needed to talk, and you've been here. I've been in and out of these doors when I deserved to be on the stage and when I didn't, and you still loved me.
Oh, you're always welcome on my stage. How? I had something so profound to say.
How do people get a hold of me?
Yeah,
that's usually what they say at the end of
yes. How did we get? How do they book you?
I don't think they should.
Oh, really?
Just no, just go to Chonda.org.
Okay.
I really don't know.
Okay.
I don't know how you book me.
We'll find it. We'll find it.
Somehow they find me.
Okay.
Awakening Events does all my tours.
Oh, I love them.
But yeah, they're good people.
Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you so
Bless you. Chonda Pierce. My Lord. Isn't she great? To find more about Chonda, you can visit her website at chonda.org. That's CHONDA.org. Or find her on social media at Chonda Pierce. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the show to help us spread the word. We'll see you on the next episode.